So every red cell you see on this sheet is revenue you're paying for, and never collected. And so if you don't know your no-show rate by different marketing channel, you're going to be guessing that, with your marketing budget. And so that's what I want to show here is how do you calculate, your no-show rate, which is the number of people that didn't show up to appointments versus the number of people that booked appointments by month, by year, by marketing channel. Then we're going to set up a little dynamic changing cell to where we can see sort of instantly which ones are your highest no-shows, because 10%, all of these are greater than 10%. And I'll show you at the end, like, how much money you're leaving on the table. And so let's get started. So we have a data set, looks just like this. If you've watched any of my other videos or flipped through any other chapters of the book, we're using this exact data set a lot for the marketing section, because you can get so many valuable insights out of it. So if you want this data set, there's a link to download it. If you need some help setting something like this up, because say you're getting, 10, 15, 20 leads a day, it's going to be worth either configuring Service Titan to do this for you, or to just have somebody manually enter in this data, because there's so many different insights you can get that'll one, save you money, which is making you money, but also help you close deals and things like that, and also know where to shift your marketing budget. So let's get started. The first thing we need to do is over here, I've already done it to create the original heat map that I showed at the beginning, but we need to get the month and the year out of here, the lead date and time. And you can choose whichever one you have. If you're using this file, then you can either of these, it's not going to matter because it's the same month and year in each one. So then we can do equals text, choose whichever cell. I'm going to use lead date and time, the timestamped one, comma, and then 4 M's. And you can see over here that gives you month. And then for year, same function. The difference is 4 Y's instead of 4 M's. And now you get that. But I'm going to delete this because we already have it. So we don't need it. I'll just delete that. Okay, so the next thing we need is we need a unique list of the month and the year. And then we need a unique list sorted alphabetically of the marketing channel. And so to get a unique list of the month and the year, just use the unique function. Equals unique up here. You can just click on month, hold down Control Shift, press the right arrow and press the down arrow. Press enter, and now you have exactly that. And then what I want to do here is I want to remove, you see how there's that little box around here? It's because it's part of what's called the dynamic range or dynamic array. And so I want to copy this and then press Control Shift in the letter V as in Victor to paste it. Okay, so the same exact thing we need to do is get a unique list of the table, open your bracket, and then we want channel. And so you can see here, just by doing that, because everything's in a table, we can get that. And if you want your data in a table, just put your cursor, your mouse anywhere in the table and press Control and the letter T as in Tom. But the next thing we want is we want this sorted alphabetically. So I'm just going to wrap this unique function with the sort function. And now you can see it's sorted alphabetically. And then finally, we want it across the row. We don't want it in the column. So I'm going to wrap this with the transpose function. And now you have it exactly how you want it. And then same thing, highlight everything, Control C to copy, Control Shift V, again, as in Victor, to paste. Okay. Okay, so how do we calculate this? How do we calculate the no-show? How many people did not show? And then the bottom of the fraction is how many people agreed to an appointment, right? And so equals, let me go through the data and I'll show this to you. So equals, and then we want appointment booked. That's going to be for the denominator. And then no show is just yes or no. So we want to count the number of yeses here where appointment booked was also a yes. But the thing is, for the way this is structured, is anything that's a yes or no here is already a yes here. And so equals for the numerator, COUNTIFS, so table, and then no show, comma, quotations, yes. So that's like the first thing we want. But this isn't taking into account Angie, the month of the year. So we need to also account for those things. So comma, and then table, We can do month. The sequencing here doesn't matter. You can do it however you want. So the month is in cell B3, comma, table leads, year is in cell C3, comma, table leads, is in cell D2, right? So this is going to give us the number of people that did not show up, which is 0, which is good. But as we do all of these, you'll start to see the numbers. And so now this needs to be divided by, so we'll just divide this by the same thing. But instead of no show here, what we want is appointment booked. Yes. You're getting a 0. And so the way we can see this formula works is we need to do a one little step and then we can copy it across. But if we do that now, you'll see you're getting an error. And because right now this is called absolute referencing, it's the default, meaning as I drag this over, you can see everything changes. So like B3, which is January, now becomes C3, which is the year. And then the same thing with the table. No show becomes quote given. So we need to tell Excel, like, hey, let's fix this. So anywhere you want to lock the column, meaning as you drag it left to right, it doesn't change, put the $ before the column. So for the month and the year, that's what we want. And then for the month and the year, we want that as well. And then for the row, for the channel, as we go left to right, we want that to change. But as we go top, up and down, we don't want that to change. So put the $ in the middle here. You're good. And now you can see it's working as expected. But make sure you copy over and then down and then paste. And the reasoning is because with tables, as you drag it, it's still going to change the columns. But if you copy and paste, it doesn't. And then you'll notice sort of right off the bat, we have this here. And that's because for December email, there were no appointments booked. The denominator is 0. And you can't divide like 1 divided by 0. Doesn't make sense, right? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add another function just to teach you as well. You can leave the error function there if you want. But I'm going to do if error, like if there's an error, then what? And so I'm just going to do, say, a dash. I think my camera just stopped working. So we have that here, copy, Control-Shift-Right, Control-Shift-Down, paste. And now you can see this is a dash. But you could change text. I mean, you could change the text if you want, no data. I mean, however you want to do it. Okay, so the next thing is we want an overall rate here. So what we can do is we don't have to redo the whole formula. We can copy this, paste it here. We're getting an error by the dash because you can see the blue and the red. There's no months. But that's not a problem because we don't want the months. We want what was the no-show rate for Angie for the data set. Not even by the year, but for the data set. And the way we do that is we just need to strip out the month and the year. So year, month, strip this part out. We're good there. And then same thing here, year, month, strip this out, and it's good. Oh, it's because what is going on here? So we can remove this. I can add that. We can remove if error because we know there's not going to be an error. Let's see. I'm doing something wrong here. COUNTIF. Da-da-da. Da-da-da. Table leads channel is D2. That's right. No show is yes. Table leads channel is D2. That's also right. Let me see what's going. Oh, hold on. Yeah, this right here. We don't need. You can see it's highlighting the overall. So, yeah. So that makes sense. Things one, I want to show you how to do conditional formatting, and then two, I want to show you your true cost of not following up properly to get these leads, to show up in the appointment. But first, let's say we want to highlight anything with greater than 10%. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this, hold down Control to also highlight this, go to Home, Conditional Formatting, highlight cells, less than, and then click on this cell. Oh, sorry. No, not less than. Undo that. Greater than, right? Because we want greater than 10% no-show. Highlight cells greater than 10%. I mean, some of these, are pretty sizable. And so the final thing for the conditional formatting part is I want this to say target, 10%. Like, you're sharing this with your team, they'll know to change this cell. But the problem is in Excel, it's being stored as text whenever you add the word target. But if you click back on the percentage, press Control-1 to open the format cell dialog box, go to custom, and then you already have the percentage here. Go to target, do a colon, space, and then your quotations, and then now it makes sense. Okay, so what I want to do now is, let's say for email, you have an 11% no-show rate. Let's just say it's 10. And so 1 in 10 people aren't showing up. So how many leads do you get a year from email? I mean, your number is going to be different, but say you get 10 a month, right? So that's 120 a year times 10% no-show is 12. And then what's your average close rate? Say it's 50%, right? So if you say you could get this down to 5%, because it's never going to be 0%, but say out of the 12 people that you're currently not getting to show up, you can knock that down to 50% instead of, or you can knock that down in half. So 6 people do show up, and then you close 50%, and so you close 3 of them. Well, what's the 3 worth? What's your average deal size? Let's say it's 2,500. So equals this times, 3. So you're leaving $7,500 on the table just from this one example. Multiply that out across 10 different, leads, and that's 25,000. 10 lead sources, that's 25,000 you're leaving on the table. But the reality is you're probably getting way more leads than 100 a month. And so, you factor that in to where if say you get 1,000 leads, 2,000 leads a year, and 10% don't show up, that's, or 2,000 appointments a year, and 10% don't show up, that's 200 that aren't showing up. You close 50% of them, that's 100 new deals, right? Sort of what this shows, there's more steps that need to be done after actually getting this insight. But anyways, so if that's all I got for this one, but if you have any questions, just shoot me an email. Questions at Databoards. And if you need this file, there's a link to download it. If you need some help structuring this file, then there's a link to hop on my calendar, or you can also shoot me an email. But if not, then that's all I got for this video, and I'll see you in future lessons.